call came into dispatch at 1:36 this morning, and we had our first crews on scene about 6 minutes later. And they right away they called a second alarm, and that eventually escalated to a fourth alarm. Each of these buildings has 64 units, so and both of those buildings were evacuated. So we kind of evacuated 128 units in between the two buildings.
Any idea of any injuries so far?
There are no injuries to my knowledge, neither civilian or firefighter.
The fire starting in the roof, any idea how that happened? Or?
We don't know yet. It's way too early. We've got investigators on scene, and we'll let you know more in the days ahead.
How long did it take? Are you happy with how quickly it came? Because it seems like it's over in a hurry here.
Oh, it's amazing the work the crews have done here. I mean, but that's the advantage of bringing a heavy weight of resources to the scene and knocking it down pretty quickly. We've got aerial resources. We did an interior attack initially, and that combined into a really successful event where they knocked it down relatively quickly.
Forgive me, but what exactly is a 4-alarm fire? And is that the highest level you can get to?
Oh no, you can go on upwards from there. So for the first alarm fire is classically a couple of engines or 2 engines and a ladder truck and a rescue, and from there you add on 2 engines each time and a ladder and a rescue, and so it's like 8 engines would have been here at one time, a number of ladder trucks and rescues. As well as support apparatus as well, officers, command units, those kinds of things, the investigator, hazmat. We'd have had a lot of resources here at one time. Not
to be inane, but does the cooler weather help you guys?
Sure it does. It's pretty punishing fighting a fire in warmer weather for one thing, and for this event, probably in terms of how quickly the fire spread, it probably made very little difference, but just in terms of the comfort of fighting a fire, it can be too cold as well for our crews, as you know, during the winter, but it's a pretty nice evening tonight. So, you know, one thing we're finding from the initial results of investigations of some of the earlier fires, not tonight, we're seeing a lot of these are related potentially to careless disposal of smoking materials. I'm not saying that's the cause of all of them, but certainly we're seeing that as a bit of a theme here. So I think one thing I would message to Calgarians, particularly as we've had some nice dry weather here, is when you are disposing of those smoking materials, whatever they may be, is make sure you're doing that in a non-combustible container, and doing that carefully and making sure those materials are extinguished, because we are, like I say, from initial investigation results, we're starting to see that as a bit of a theme for a number of fires we've had lately. With this, we don't have any real investigation done yet on this one. It's too soon. The building is still, we're still making sure we have all the hot spots put out, so it's way too early for this fire. So we will share that information as soon as we get more. When I spoke earlier about the smoking materials, that's a bit of a theme that's coming from initial investigation results from a number of fires. And as one of your colleagues just said, we've had a number of fires over the last number of days. That seems to be a bit of a theme, so worth mentioning to Calgarians.